host, Noah Mock, and welcome to the Taft Heritage Show, as always, our wonderfully ran program. Today, I have the wonderful guest of the day, Hannah Morris.
Hi.
Now, Hannah, how's your day so far?
My day's been pretty okay.
And that's splendid to hear. Now, really, real quick too, because I know you work at Starbucks.
I do, yeah.
Favorite drink?
It really depends on how I feel that day. I really, if I want something to keep me hydrated, I'll get like a strawberry acai with water and no inclusions. I don't like the berries. But if I need caffeine, I'll go with like an iced vanilla latte. Yeah.
I've never heard of any of those, but I'll try it.
You should.
I'm a basic human being. I just do the caramel ribbon crunch.
That's good too.
Yeah. Now, on to the actual serious questions on a real note. So, I want to kind of start off with the basis of just overall like history, since we are in heritage, of course.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get the Wildcat to watch from Mr. Van Rokel?
I was in Mr. Van Rokel's sophomore U.S. history class, his college prep. And I guess I just answered all his questions. I tried my best on the homework and like the assignments because I really enjoy history. So I just put my all into it, into all the projects, into essays and stuff. And I guess that really drew his attention because, yeah.
You know, one of the more dedicated people in this class, I suppose.
For sure, yeah.
He's a very great teacher.
He is a great teacher. Love that guy.
Yeah. Now, especially with like your love with history and so on, like how did it eventually develop, and then how did you start to indulge into like Taft Heritage?
I actually wrote my personal statement for my scholarship essays on this. I'm afraid of being forgotten as a person, so I think it's cool to try to figure out what people have forgotten in history and just try to bring light to that. So I think that really developed it. One thing that really made me like, this is really cool. My first Magic School Bus episode that I remember is the one about archaeology. And like, that's really cool. So I've really liked indulging myself in that. And then when I got the opportunity, I took a dual enrollment U.S. history class with Mr. Gonzalez. And I just threw myself into the class. We had to write an 8-page essay. I wrote 8.5 pages. And then I joined Taft Heritage Club last year, and now it's a class. So I am absolutely thrilled to be here. And I'm going to continue this into college. I'm going to major in anthropology and hopefully become an archaeologist.
I always wanted to be an archaeologist as a kid.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yep. I loved dinosaurs too as a kid too.
Yeah, I was going to be a paleontologist, but that's another 12 years of school. So.
And I'm sorry, 8 pages for your essay?
Yeah.
I would never have that trimmed.
Not including the title page or works cited. Yeah.
What's that included?
Just the essay.
Like how much does that add up to then?
10 pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like history.
You're much stronger than me with that. Oh my goodness. Now, with band, because I kind of want to delve into that too, what were kind of like the pros and cons of being in band?
The only con that I could think of right now is that it doesn't leave you a lot of time to try anything else. Like I got to try tennis for 2 years, right? But you really have to make band your priority and make it your whole life, which I don't mind. Obviously, I've done band since 5th grade. A lot of the pros, though, it teaches you how to be a harder worker. It teaches you to respect people. It's just really fun to be in, and it's really great to work together as a group to be better together, set goals and get them.
And especially with what knowledge I do know of like the band directors, for example, like Miss Posey and so on, incredible people like her are just running it. And
yeah, very hardworking people.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have worded it better than me. Now, especially with, having the kind of weight of being a band major, leading the whole thing, like what were the pros and cons of that as well?
Some cons I can think of is that you have to make sure that people are paying attention to you and respecting you. And when they don't do that, you have to really rein them in. I don't like being mean to people, but sometimes you have to just be a little bit more strict when dealing with people that don't know how it goes. Some pros, though, I didn't have to march for 2 years, but it was really great just putting myself out there in front of a bunch of people, like me as an individual, and yeah, honestly, that's it.
Now, I kind of want to delve into like what you mentioned about tennis. You know, how long did you play exactly?
I played my sophomore and my junior year.
And like with those seasons of tennis played, like what did you enjoy about like playing tennis?
I definitely enjoyed the team the most, I think. Because tennis, it's very, a lot of people don't think it's a very hard sport, but it's very mentally draining. But being with my teammates really just helped me get through the season, and it was really great. I made a lot of great friendships through tennis, for sure. Yeah.
Now, and especially with like your band career too, and especially being like a band major, how does one keep such composure, especially when you're on like a big crowd, for example, like the football games and everything? How does one just kind of keep their cool, and just relax to be able to just control everything?
I think I've honestly lost my ability to be embarrassed of myself throughout my time in band. But also, I just enjoy putting myself out there, and I like people seeing me for what I do and my achievements and stuff. I think that's great. And I just got to remember, if I mess up, they're not going to remember in the next 2 years, you know? So it's just do
And
what you want to do.
that's a great mindset to have,
Yeah.
to not really like be afraid of just like embarrassment. And even when it happens, so what? It's probably just gonna get
Yeah, they're just going to remember.
forgotten about
Forget it. Yeah.
eventually. Now, I want to also cut into girls band as well. What led to your interest in girls band, and how did you like discover it, if that made sense?
A lot of it was Mr. Davis. I didn't even know that there was a girls only band until he had brought it up. So I was like, that's really interesting. I like to learn more about that because obviously I'm a girl and I'm in band. So it's just really interesting to me. And I found out that the girls band actually did a lot better than the boys band before they were combined. So that really piqued my interest too. I'm like, how did that happen? Stuff like that, you know? It's just, I've always, again, I like history and I like music, and that's just two of my favorite things combined. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Now, I have a little question just about band in general. What is something like what are things about like band that you've heard that are like true and some that are just, just outright false?
One thing that comes to mind when I think of a false thing about band, I guess, is that everyone in band is weird. That is not true. I mean, yeah, we could be weird, but we're weird together. But also, we have kids that are like in ASB in all these sports, and it's just not just weird kids. It's just everyone coming together, and we don't really judge each other about it either. Something true about band. We're hardworking, very hardworking. Take pride in that. Yeah.
I like to think that especially with like that phenomena of people being revered as weird, like band kids, for example, I think that's honestly, to me, it always seemed like a humor thing. Like
Yeah,
they
definitely
see their
like
humor
in middle
and then they
school, that
see
makes sense because, we're seventh and eighth graders. But band has really helped a lot of people just grow up too once they got to high school.
just mature and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
Now, I have a little question too. Aside from band, have you done like things like drumline or choir?
Yeah, so I was in drumline from my sixth grade year to through my sophomore year. I had to quit my junior year because I got a job. I didn't have time for it, and that was really fun. And then I did choir in eighth grade with Mrs. Mondragon, and then I dropped in high school because I didn't have enough room in my schedule. But I would have loved to keep doing choir.
Now, I know you obviously have plans for college and so on, and I have a question on that too. Do you continue to keep like practicing your like musical career throughout college and all that, and eventually maybe become like an actual musician and so on?
I would love to do that, yeah. But I don't think I'm going to take any music courses per se in college. I'm just going to probably gig around with my bass guitar because I picked that up this year. Um, just play for fun and do what I love, and hopefully it might get somewhere. But if it doesn't, then whatever. I like doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Now, I have another question on you being like a drum major. Like, how was it when you first was it when you first became the drum major in eighth grade?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How
Like,
was that?
Yeah, how was that?
It was really interesting. So my sixth to seventh grade year was was
Uh-huh.
COVID. So coming out of COVID straight into being in band again together, it was really weird. So we had to audition that year, and I ended up getting it against four other people, I think. And just middle schoolers, they don't They don't know how to act. So it was really interesting seeing how I could make 60 kids listen to me, who's also a kid. It's very interesting. But then I became a drum major again in high school, my junior and senior year. And it was a lot easier, I think, with the help of Mrs. Posey. And then this year I had my co-drum major, Jaylene Valenzuela. It was really easy. Not really easy, but a lot easier than it was in middle school.
Now, I kind of want to ask once again about like your job with Starbucks and so on. Like, how did you first like meet your coworkers in Starbucks?
Well, I already knew like of some of them. I actually got hired with another person. We got hired on the same day. She was also in band. Her name is Lillian Blaska. So I already knew her from band, and then also one of my cousin's friends had worked there, and then everyone else was a stranger. I didn't know anybody there. So I got trained by this girl named Callie. She was really cool. She helped me through it, and then I just kind of started being myself a little bit instead of just reserved, and that really got them to talk to me. So
Now, I want to ask, interviews, how was that? Were you nervous?
yeah, I was so nervous. So how that worked, I've been applying for jobs since I was like 14, 15 years old. I'd been applying at Snow White, Jacob's Burger over and over again. So then I turned 16 and I'm like, I'm old enough to work corporate. I'm gonna go to Jack in the Box or Starbucks or something. Jack in the Box wasn't hiring. I went to Starbucks. They were like, hey, go to our website. So I went to their website. I applied. A week later, I came in and I was like, hey, I applied a week ago. What's going on? And then the manager just happened to be right there. So she was like, I actually have an interview slot open for 2 hours like later that day if you want to come in. I was like, okay, dude, yeah, sure. So that was very rushed. I had to like Google some interview questions. During the interview, it was super easy though. She was super chill. So, yeah.
Now, back to kind of the whole thing with band, you know, you guys always do like go around and do competitions and so on. Like, what was like some of the toughest schools that you kind of went against as far as like competition?
I want to say Golden Valley was a big one. That's honestly the only school that comes to mind. Golden Valley and Golden Valley.
You guys
Yeah.
are just that good?
Maybe Ridgeview, but I don't think they were in our division. Yeah, just
What
Golden
division
Valley.
are you guys, if I may ask?
We just got into 4A this year. So the divisions are based on how many people are in your band. This year we had, what, 90? More than 90 kids in band. So we went up from 3A to 4A, which is really cool.
So, asides that, just not really much competition in particular.
Well, there was, what, like 8 schools in our division? There was a lot of schools. But, you know, we persevered. We did good.
Just beat them all.
Yeah, Golden Valley was just pretty good. So,
Well, that's great to hear.
yeah.
And I heard that as of late, Mrs. Posey's composing like a mariachi band.
Yeah, she is.
And like, why did the idea of like the mariachi band like come like to light for you? You know?
For me, I always think it's cool to have new clubs on campus, like the Taft Heritage Club. I thought that was super cool. I joined a coffee club, and then also I love music, so a mariachi club would be really awesome. And I know Miss Posey goes to like these conferences in like Sacramento or something where she gets new ideas, and then she brought the mariachi idea to the band. I was like, dude, that's awesome. So we're actually making it happen. And I think that's really awesome. It's really cool.
I'm excited for that,
Yeah,
honestly. It's
you should join.
actually, me. Only good thing I am is like piano and that's it. And even then,
You could try.
I don't know. Well, besides that, I know you obviously have been in honor band and so on.
I have, yeah.
And I just want to ask, like, to start off, like, how was that experience? And like, what was the process of actually getting in order to get that seat?
It was a very different experience from 8th grade to like my sophomore and senior year. In 8th grade, it was super easy. I just tried out on bass clarinet. It was a scale and part of a song. Super, super easy, chillax rehearsals. My sophomore year was a little bit more difficult. I tried out on clarinet and I only practiced like the day before. Somehow I got in. I got second to last chair clarinet in the Kern County Honor Band. I was thrilled. I made some good friends, you know, but it was pretty strenuous, like the rehearsals. And this year I tried out for honor orchestra on bassoon. I was the only bassoon player in the county to try out, so I got the spot. Really hard music, crazy hard. But I got over it. I practiced, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, literally. But it was worth it.
Now, aside from both honor band, just competitions and so on, I know you guys do, of course, like the parades and so on. Like,
Hmm.
how was that exactly? Like, what did you enjoy about doing like the parades, like in Lincoln for like the Turkey Bowl and all
Mm.
that?
I just enjoy putting myself out there. I like when people see me. I know I'm kind of sounding repetitive, but it's really true. Um, let's see. The Turkey Bowl, I remember in Lincoln during the Turkey Bowl when I did the Star Spangled Banner conducting it, I forgot to tell them to put their horns up, so that was interesting. But I don't think anyone remembers that, so don't feel embarrassed. Um, Honestly, the parade experience from middle school to high school wasn't really different. I got to do Oil Dorado my 8th grade year and senior year as the drum major. It wasn't really different. It's just more people, more responsibility. But it was really fun just being out there and seeing the crowd waving at everyone, especially the little kids. Um, and just the energy is really high, and I really enjoy it.
Just being able to make people happy and
Yeah,
so on, and just
yeah.
being able to perform.
Especially in our community. Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yeah.
Now, especially like when you were an underclassman and like when you were a junior, like did you have anyone particularly from like their senior year that you missed?
Yeah. Um, Noah Covington, he was a tuba player. He was super funny. Let's see, who else? Olivia Romache, she basically taught me trombone. Um, Really fun person to be around. Great section leader. And then Wyatt Archibald is another one that I think about. He graduated last year, but to me it feels like he graduated a million years ago. That's about it.
Now, I kind of want to ask about, since we're going on the topic of you finally being a senior, of course, I
Uh-huh.
wanted to ask about your experiences like senior sunrise and like how did you react knowing that this is your final year for you in high school?
I'm a very sentimental person, so I was on the verge of crying the entire time. But I enjoyed it. I soaked in the moment. I got to be around my friends. It was it was a moment for sure.
And who did you hang out with during senior sunrise?
I hung around a lot of friends from band. I hung around Jackson, Jewett, Carissa, Kendall, Kylie, Amy, Alex Bautista. Just I kind of bounced around, because I want to get the most experience I can with them before we go.
Now, aside from just like the whole idea of just band and like just, of course, Starbucks and so on,
Yeah.
just being like a regular high schooler, how was it just being able to experience like the dances and so on, like Sadie Hawkins?
I didn't really take into account how much I would miss it, because it's just a high school dance, but you really make memories and you take pictures and you get to be with your friends and it's just a great time. Um, Man, I was gonna say something. Oh well. Yeah, but it was just a great time.
Now, of course, who were you with, if that made sense? Like, who were you dancing with and so on?
A lot of the time I was with my friend Andrea, um, or like just people in band in general. I kind of just bounced around groups. And then, yeah, I went with a guy a few times, but a lot of friends mostly.
Lucky guy. Now, just as a question, kind of a weird one too.
Uh-huh.
Did you get married at the marriage booth?
I did, yeah. My freshman year, me and Carissa Berberick married each other. And then this year, we renewed our vows at the marriage booth. It was great. I love you, Carissa.
That's good for you both. Now, especially for just like asides kind of the events and so on, like how about dress up weeks? Like what was your favorite dress up week out of like the freshman through senior year? Like what was your favorite like dress up week?
I really liked dress as your teacher, as your favorite teacher. My freshman year, I dressed up as Mr. Tofty. That was the day I got my braces on too. And then this year I dressed up as Mr. Nuno. I really got into it. Like I had the button up and the belt and everything for Mr. Tofty, and I drew on a beard for Mr. Nuno. It was great.
Now, typically, like what dance out of like all of them, like winter dance, prom, and so on, like what was your favorite out of all of them?
I think my favorite would be Sadie Hawkins or the luau because they're more casual. You know what I mean? But I did go to prom last year. I really enjoyed it. I really like the casual dances because you don't have to be all like proper or worry about like high heels or anything. You can just be there.
Now, just talking about as you as a person, and of course, like for your love of music, what is your like favorite genre and like just least favorite?
I don't like country. I really don't like country. I mean, I'll listen to it if somebody puts it on, but I'm never gonna listen to country on my own.
I think that's
Um,
an easy thing
yeah.
for a lot of people to say about country. I really don't care about it, you know?
uh-huh.
It's just like, I'll just listen to it.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But I know a lot of people that just, no, hate
Right
it.
now, I've been getting into a lot of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Very good band.
band.
I like punk, alternative rock, I guess. I went to a Green Day concert and the Offspring concert. I really enjoyed myself. So
Now, I kind of want to jump back to band about how kind of like not being able to fully invest in other things and kind of only being able to like invest in band. Like, how come like you were not able to be committed to everything at once, if that makes sense, with band? Like, how come you didn't join any community service clubs, nothing like that?
I tried to join. I think it was Key Club or Seroptimus my freshman year, but then I was so involved in band. That was like the only thing I wanted to do, and it was like that for a lot, you know. But my cousin convinced me to join tennis. My sophomore year, I really liked it, so I'm like, you know what? There's other things that I like that isn't band. So from there, I kind of was like, man, maybe I could get a job. Like, not everything is about band, you know, but it's also a huge part of my life and a huge focus of mine still.
Now, with band, especially like your peers, like when you first met Miss Posey, like what did you really think of her? Like, what was your first impressions
I
with
can't
her?
remember because I was in like third or fourth grade because my brother was in band and he was super involved as well. So I would go to the car washes and stuff. You know, I thought she was cool, I think, probably. But when I got to high school and I really saw how strict and like critical and just she wants the best for the band, you know? And I respect that. She's very respectable.
Now, especially because, of course, there's Miss Posey, and then there's also Miss Mondragon. Like, I can't imagine she was not like a huge stepping stone for you, with your career in like music and so on. And like, how did that like experience kind of transfer over, if that makes sense? Like, what did she kind of guide you with and so on to make you like the musician you are now?
Miss Mondragon, yeah?
Yes.
She really raised the bar for me. She set high expectations for me, which I just happened to meet, I guess. And she made me push myself. And I think it just made me into the hardworking person I am today, especially with my music career.
Now, with, especially Roosevelt and Lincoln, like as you were eventually becoming a band major, kind of like a leader in some shape, like how did like that experience from kind of just like Roosevelt to now, how did you like, what did you learn and like what can you say like for those people?
I would say don't give up, because I know practicing can be tedious. I know it could be annoying, but it's so worth it to know that you worked so hard at something and it pays off. That's what I learned. When you work hard, it definitely pays off. So just don't give up.
Now, another personal question with yourself, a lot of people know that you've like went through many hairstyles and so on. What what did you use to change your hairstyle, and what changes did it go through? What was the evolution?
Oh my
if you
goodness.
will?
Okay, so the first time I cut my hair as of recent was my sophomore year. I cut bangs at band camp, and then I hadn't dyed it, but then I'm like, I kind of want to dye it auburn, so I dyed it, and it was like a pretty bright, like natural red, I guess. And then I'm like, I could go black, so I dyed my hair black, and then it turned brown, and then I was like, a wolf cut would look pretty awesome, so I cut my own hair, and then it grew out, and then I dyed it red and black, and then I dyed it pink and orange, and then I bleached it, and then I dyed the tips pink, and it was so beautiful. It was like down to here. And then I was like, I want a pixie cut. So I just chopped all my hair off by myself. And then I had my friend come over and fix up the back with a dog razor, like the electrical razor with a guard on it. So I basically had a buzz cut. And I'm like, this haircut is so bad. Maybe if I dye it pink, no one will notice. So I dyed my whole head pink. And then my mom was like, not before your senior pictures. So I had to go get my hair re-dyed like blonde. And then this is just it grown out. And I'm going to continue to grow it out.
Very, very
Yeah.
interesting story, I
Yeah.
could say. Now, especially just like with yourself in your own life, like excluding band and all that, what are some personal goals you've marked for yourself this year? Just like away from band and all that. What are some personal life goals you have for yourself?
I tried to pick up running at the beginning of the year, but that kind of wore off. I do want to pick that back up again. Maybe to be able to run a mile without losing my breath by the end of the school year. I just want to be a better person for the people around me, and I want to make other people happy, I guess.
And that's great. Now, just more kind of like personal questions. Like, do you have any like favorite novels or books?
I was really into Stephen King a couple years ago, and one novel that I read that really stood out to me was The Institute by Stephen King. It's very descriptive, and it had a great plot line, and it was just a really good book. I also really enjoyed the books that we read here in school, like To Kill a Mockingbird. Awesome book. And then The 12 Angry Men. I guess just literature like that. I really like that.
Now, sorry, zoned down.
You're good.
Horrible time. Now, is there any movies, because of course we have our
Oh my
local
goodness.
theater and so on, what movies do you just like love?
Movies. I was a big movie person in middle school and the first half of my high school career. I was a huge Marvel nerd and really into Star Wars. So I think my favorite Star Wars movie was not the Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith. That was my favorite Star Wars movie, and my favorite Marvel movie was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But recently I've been getting into shows.
Now, if you can name like a top 5, like what would it be?
Like-
Show, it could be shows, anything.
Supernatural or The Walking Dead for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's a given. Any others?
Any others? Loki was really good. Both seasons. The last episode really made me cry and it hit hard. My Little Pony played a crucial role in my development, and so did the Aquabats.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, just kind of like, since you already gave like advice with just being a leader, you know, do you have any more advice that you would like say to like future band kids and so on that are coming to the high school?
I would say be prepared to work hard and to know when to have fun and when to start working, really. Yeah.
Well said.
Yes.
Now, especially kind of delving back into just like, I guess you could say performance so on, and so on, like, when did you first audition for the spring musical, and what role did you play for the musical?
The first time I auditioned was my sophomore year. It was the Mean Girls musical, and I auditioned. It was really fun. I was hoping to get Janice, but I got a background character. And then Mrs. Morris was like, there's nobody to play Regina's mom. I'm like, I'll do it. So I got to play Regina's mom. And then this year, I didn't join last year because I was worried it would conflict with my job. So, but I'm going to try again this year, and it's going to be the Britney Spears and Disney Princess musical or whatever. It's called Once Upon a One More Time, I think. I'm going to audition with that, so hopefully I get in.
Now, talking about like auditioning and so on, like what was like the practice like?
They were really fun. I enjoyed watching the main characters practice for sure from backstage, but it was fun to just be out there and meet new people from all over the school, you know?
Now, what was like your attitude, especially when you first got into it? Like, were you extremely nervous, or like were you just kind of confident, like just, you know?
I was a little nervous, I think, because I'd never actually been in a play. That's a lie, I have, but I was little. But I was really excited, honestly, to finally perform in something that wasn't music, I guess. And I was just really confident.
Now, especially with kind of the growth of music evolving more and more with our high school, like, are you excited for kind of the future of just music in general?
I
Or
definitely
future
am.
musicians?
I definitely am, yeah. So my brother actually just got a job at the elementary schools here in town, to be the music director. So now they're getting music education all the way from kindergarten, and I'm really excited to see how that plays off by the time they get to high school.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
Now, once again, like with, I'm running out of questions here, you know. All right, we'll go for it. Now, especially, I kind of want to gross over this topic real quick, and especially because it's music in general. What did you think about the halftime show for like the Super Bowl?
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked the unity of it. Just how it was performed too, you know, and everyone just came together and it was a moment of peace in the world.
I'll be honest, I love the fact that they got a bunch of people to dress up as trees.
That was awesome. I would have loved to do that.
I could, well, then again, I couldn't imagine though. Imagine being that hot and those like,
Yeah.
just like standing up for hours.
Yeah. Well, another, like a requirement for that actually was they had to be in high school marching band. So keep that in mind if you ever want to be in the Super Bowl.
Just be a part of a high school marching band.
Yep, and you'll be able to be a blade of grass in Bad Bunny's concert.
Well, folks, seems we grossed over all the questions and we're running out of time here. So thank you once more for being, you know, of course, watching this show and so forth. And thank you to our guests, Hannah
Thanks for
Morris,
having me.
and so on. And we will be seeing you next time.
Bye.